Welcome into Sports Tonight. Emily Gagnon and
What's
Bailey
up?
Burmaster. We have not done one of these.
We talk about it every time we're together. It's once a month, maybe. Once every 2 months.
I think that's even generous because you're either somewhere and then I'm here.
Once
or
every
vice
6
versa.
weeks.
But it's a good night to be together because
Yes.
we're talking all about the WNBA.
The
and
ladies.
The ladies. So it's Ladies Night on Sports Tonight. We're going to call it Ladies
It's
Night.
ladies' night throughout the entire night.
Yeah, there we go. There we go.
WNBA and Vibe.
And Vibe, and Bailey, and Emily. No Scott, no Lee.
We don't need them.
We got Ellie back here producing.
Yep.
So we're just a total
Women's
girl gang.
Wednesday.
Girl gang. There we go. There we go. Okay, enough about that.
I know. In all seriousness.
We want to talk all about the Dream, mostly because you can watch them here tonight at 10 o'clock on Peachtree Sports Network and on Peachtree TV as they tip off the season against the LA Sparks. And we have not got to talk about the Dream too much. What is your take from this team after they were able to make the playoffs for the first time since 2018 last year?
I just think they're coming into the season with a ton of momentum. Anyone could tell you that who covers the team, who's around the team, but I also love their confidence. When you speak with them, they just have this something about them that they haven't had in years past entering the year. They feel really, really good about where they're at. They feel really, really good about each other. And a lot of times you need that. You need to feel good about the team. You need to feel good about where you are to perform because it makes you believe, right? So I just like where their confidence is entering the 2024 season.
They have a lot of good energy about them. When I was able to talk to a lot of the girls at our partner content day, they know who they are, they know who they want to be, and they're willing to do it together. I mean, Ryan Howard, she's so humble for how good she is. And Tanisha Wright even said she can see her taking this to a whole nother level this season, which is just crazy to think because her, Alicia Gray, and Cheyenne Parker-Tyus were all all-stars last year. So they're expecting, all-star caliber play from those three again. They also added a bunch of new pieces. Can't forget Jordan Canada. She's out with a hand injury right now, but she's going to play some vital minutes once she gets back in the mix. And then Tina Charles is just another great story. One of the W's, honestly, one of the best to ever do it. And she told me she was retired last year. Like in her head, she was retired, but then had an opportunity to play in China, kind of realized she wasn't done. She still loved the game very much. And then Tanisha called her and said, hey, why don't you come to the Dream? And that was that.
What's cool about her is she's by far like a future Hall of Famer. Mm-hmm. And yes, didn't play at all last year. 2022 with Seattle was the last time she played. But let's say she doesn't play much this season, right? Let's just say she's on the team and in the locker room. I think her experience and knowledge and leadership will pay off. So she'll come off the bench in my, guesstimation. And I think she'll be solid off the bench offensively because this team, if they're anything like last year, they don't play amazingly towards the end of games. Like they do very well to start games and then they kind of lose steam. So maybe having someone like her coming off the bench could add some electricity, some offensive, an offensive threat. And then towards the end of the season is really, again, taking a look at last year, they struggled. They went like 7-15 to finish the year.
Yeah, it's something I've noticed when I've been at practices a little bit is how much Tanisha rides home discipline. And I think that discipline comes into those, lackluster performances going into the, going late into the games. So I'm interested to see if they're able to clean things up a little bit and take it to another height. But all of them said, it was great to make the playoffs, but they want to do even better this year.
Yeah.
And I think a big part of that is Tanisha Wright in her third year. You've been covering Coach T longer than I have. What are your impressions of her?
From the jump, I thought she was very honest. She's a former player. She's very fair with her team. When you're at practice with her, she knows how to almost drill her players, but then when to let off a little bit. She can have fun. That's the type of coach you want as a player, right? I mean, you've been on organized teams more so than me. I was a cheerleader in high school and we didn't even listen to the coach. So do not listen to me right now. But I like the fact that she's able to relate. And I know that her players appreciate that. I think she's a perfect fit for the Dream. And also kind of like what we just talked about, With Charles, she's bringing in players that she knows and that she has, been around because she's been in the WNBA for a while. So for me, I like that she has a lot of contacts and she can reach out to certain players and players want to play for her.
Yeah, for sure. And I think something I picked up from her just in the short time I've covered the Dream is just the accountability aspect. I think the accountability can never be discredited with teams, because a lot of the teams that are the most accountable are the ones that go the furthest in postseason or are able to achieve really big things. And I was able to ask Tanisha Wright that on our partner content day, and we're going to show you a preview of some of that sit-down interview with Coach T. Coach T, for starters, I want to read some adjectives you've been called by players.
Okay.
Intense,
Okay.
transparent, genuine, players coach, and tough. What adjective do you feel is missing?
Good one. What adjective is missing? I don't know. I think those all fit the bill. You know what I mean? Obviously, there's more to me than just that. But in terms of, I think what they witness from a day-to-day standpoint, like I would say those fit the bill. I like to have a good time. See, they forget that part, but it's all good.
It's hard to blur that line as coach and friend, right? What is a coaching non-negotiable for you? Something that is a moral as a coach that you stand on? Yeah,
just your effort and the accountability. Pointing the fingers and blaming others for things that are in our control is really tough for me, because I try to lead from that standpoint. You know what I mean? In terms of, if it's something that I did, I'll be the first one to say, hey, like, I didn't get this right. You know what I mean? But let's get better from it. Let's work on that, and let's grow from that. So I just think, like, you have to have a growth mindset. You have to want to get better and have to be coachable.
This organization has done a really good job of rebranding and also putting patience and progress, not only into the players, but all the surrounding aspects. Yeah. How do you view this upcoming season for the Atlanta Dream?
Yeah, it's still a building process. You know what I mean? Like, I think we haven't jumped the gun. We've had some success, and people are excited about that success, as are we. But with that, you still don't want to skip steps. Still want to do things the right way. Still want to continue to build and grow and take leaps as you can. Sometimes those leaps are small, and sometimes they are large leaps. So we're still growing, but the expectations and the standards of how we want to do things and the expectations we have expectations every year to be top, to be a top team and to be seen as that and to play like that. And so I think that's going to continue to be the forefront.
Something I love about you is you're very honest, and like your press conferences. I remember there was one time you guys had lost and players were shrugged, and you were like, sit up. Yeah. And I love that, because it was that accountability. Not everyone can do that. So how do you find that balance between challenging your players, holding them accountable, but also showing them you are a player's coach?
Yeah, because I support them. At the end of the day, like, I'm going to celebrate them. And I know I'm in this position as a head coach, and they probably see me as that. But I like to think of it like I'm your teammate. You know what I mean? I want you to have success. Your success is my success. You know what I mean? So me pushing you and me challenging you is just another way of saying, like, I know you can do it, and encouraging you to do it. And I just believe in, like, when you're excited and happy and joyful when you're winning, I think even when you take a L, you got to be the same way. Like, I pride myself in showing up every single day and being the same person for them. And not changing, so they know who they're getting. They know that they're getting consistency every single day, so they're not up and down. You know what I mean? I think you just have to be that way. So if I can be happy with the press, when we're playing well, then I can also, you know what I mean? Even when we lose, I can still have the same demeanor and same respect for different people and stuff like that. So.
I want to talk specifically about some of the players on this team. We'll start with Tina Charles, who you played with. Yeah. I mean, getting her here is amazing, especially after she told me earlier, she was like, I thought I was done. I thought I was going to retire. And now she's here. She feels like her body's good. I mean, what is it like to have a vet like that?
Oh, it's special. I mean, specifically it being Tina and our history of playing together and growing together. I think through those years, those were good growth years for her. They were good growth years and forecasting years for me, because they gave me an opportunity really to kind of like mentor and start coaching while I was still playing on the floor and different things like that. And so those years that we played together, I think they were growth years for the both of us. So now having her here on this team, and now she can bring that type of perspective and being able to coach her, I think the way I coach her will set the tone for the rest of them, even though the returners all know me and they know my coaching style and how I operate. But, somebody who's 35, a vet in this league, a future Hall of Famer, no doubt, an Olympian, you know what I mean? Like how she gets coached. They understand, like, all right, this is just who she is, you know what I mean? And so that's special, and hopefully being able to do something special this season with Tina, being that we didn't get it done in New York. So, I'm really excited about that opportunity.
Jordan Canada, what do you expect from her, and more importantly, how do you expect her to impact this team?
Yeah, obviously we brought Jordan in to lead our team, and that was the biggest thing with her experience. I mean, Jordan has seen it all, has been through it all in terms of the position that she's been in. She's backed up a Hall of Famer, an Olympian, and Sue. She's played in she's been thrusted in that role when Sue was hurt, and she obviously went to LA and done amazing things there as well. So Jordan just has a plethora of experience in her short career that I'm hoping that she can bring to this team and really impact this team in that way. And then obviously Jordan's game. You know what I mean? She plays the way that we would like to play in terms of pushing the pace, being able to get downhill, drawing, finding. And so we expect Jordan to be able to come in and do some great things for me. What stands out to me the most about Jordan is just like the confidence that she played with last year. And so, at that position, at the point guard position, at the lead guard position, you have to play with that confidence, and you have to demand that type of respect from your teammates. And I think Jordan can come in and do that with this group.
How much better can Ryan Howard get?
Oh, I mean, the sky is the limit. And the sky continues to go and go and go and go and go. Ryan she's such a generational talent. The things that she can do, some players just can't do the things that she can do. And, she gets a bad rap sometimes because she makes hard things look easy. You know what I mean? Just because she can do them and others can't do them as well as she can do them. But Ryan has been somebody throughout her career so far. Each and every year we've given her something to kind of come back with. She's done that, you know what I mean? And now she's come back this year with a hunger to kind of like continue to push forward and continue to grow and show what she's capable of doing in this league. So I expect Ryan to have an amazing season this season, just because of her inner confidence and her inner competitiveness. And then all the other pieces that we added, I think, can really help contribute to kind of continuing to light that fire up under her.
So you heard Coach T there talk about a lot, and something she also talked about was just the hype of the WNBA right now, and she believes that the product in the W can go hand to hand with any other sport, and I think that's where the case is definitely getting now, Emily. How do you believe, what is your indicator of how much this league has grown over the last couple of years?
I mean, I would think that it's the college talent that's going to the WNBA, because I would think, even though I know viewership has been the highest it has been, like as far as last season's concerned in the WNBA, I think the women that have been drafted to play in the W are going to change the game. And furthermore, this is what I was telling Lee a couple of days ago. I was saying that like these ladies have, and not that it wasn't cool before, but it's almost like the more young girls are watching, the more they'll want to play basketball. So these girls are like so cool and playing so well that the young talent will want to be them. And that's what's going to push the sport forward, is the more the young girls watch and think it's cool, the more they'll want to do it. Absolutely. And that's what I think is going to change everything. And I earlier you and I were talking about how the Sparks, they usually play on a college campus, and they are for the first 2 games of the season, but then they're moving to Crypto.com Arena, home of the Lakers, because of how much this sport has grown. So that's a pretty big indication as well.
It's huge, also along with the fact that the commission has approved charter flights, and now the teams can charter places. That's
long
huge
time
for the
coming.
league.
Yeah.
We talked about a lot when we had our partner content day with the Dream. We're going to rerun some of those interviews and insights so you guys can have all the intel as we get ready for tonight's tip-off. WNBA has been on fire lately, and there's a lot to expect from this Atlanta Dream team. Before we break down the players, the roster, and what's to come, we got to talk about where you can see these Atlanta Dream games, because there is a new partnership with Atlanta News First. We will be airing 29 games on PeachtreeTV and Peachtree Sports Network. Dream president Morgan Shaw Parker has had a vision for this team for a long time. It's been one that's been a lot of patience, progression, and buying in, and there's a lot of excitement with these games to come on air.
They can expect excellent professional basketball, not just professional women's basketball, but understanding the game from start to finish. They can expect player content. They can expect a network and stations that really are invested in telling these player stories and getting these games out to the masses.
So you can expect all the Dream content coming your way, whether it's about coaches, Coach T, the players, community, things going on in the community, but something you're really going to want, take a picture of this. This is some of the games that you can find on PeachtreeTV and Peachtree Sports Network. Angel, there's a lot of games on this schedule you're going to want to look at, whether it is the Liberty, Indiana Fever, going to be a hot ticket with Caitlin Clark. What are some matchups you'll be interested to see for the Dream this season?
I mean, when you think about just the home opener, that's what I'm excited about. I know they start on the road on the West Coast trip, but just to see this place packed out, 12 sold out games in this arena, and it's really just that six-man, that six-woman presence in this arena, and we can really see what's on display. I know that they had their preseason game just a few nights ago, but just to really put things together for Tanisha Wright's third year. Obviously, the Indiana Fever with the #1 overall pick and Caitlin Clark, who just brings so much attention to the women's game. It would be lovely to see Chicago as well, just seeing Angel Reese, Camila Cardoso. And the thing that I like about that Chicago Sky game as well is that we have currently 3 former Gamecocks on our roster. So there is no WNBA team in that area. The closest one is in Atlanta. So when you can think about how that's going to be sold out as well, just to see that amount of talent, seeing Angel Reese, who is a champion as well, has done so much for the game of women's basketball. That's going to be a lot of fun. We cannot count out, I know that everyone has talked about the New York Liberty. Can we also talk about the back-to-back champs in the Las Vegas Aces?
Yeah.
That's going to be another game that's going to be
you
circled
can't
on everyone's
them.
calendar.
You can't overlook them, and Kelsey Plum, absolutely not. There's a lot to like about that. I want to talk about Gateway Center Arena for a second. I was talking to Jordan Canada earlier, and she said before she even got here, this was one of her favorite places to play. For the new Dream fans that are tuning in, what can they expect from here?
Complete chaos. Like, when you say Atlanta is a vibe, it literally is embodied within the presence here, and it's so exciting when you can see the investment. I mean, the partners, the ownership, the front office has done an amazing job with creating this atmosphere, and not just being a regular arena, but something where this is home. Having the courtside seats, having sightings where we have a celebrity row, but also there's just an energy in here where it's completely deafening. There are times when I'm on the broadcast with my partner, LaTyna Robinson, and there are moments where we barely can hear one another. But the energy is great. Obviously, the product on the floor is amazing, and that's why people come to show out. But it's just so much fun being a part of something so electric in this city.
Let's talk about last season. The Dream were able to make it to the playoffs for the first time since 2018. What did you take away from that young and talented team? Because there were a lot of young players. They were still finding their groove, but able to make an impact.
As the coach goes, so does the team. And one thing that I know about Tanisha Wright is that she is a winner. She's proven that she's a winner when she won that the title in Seattle. But I think also just that was her second season. And what she told her team prior to that was when they didn't make the playoffs in her first year and lost by 1 game, she said, we will be back, and this is what we need to do. They implemented that. It was a rough season. We had injuries to key players. However, they really showed up towards the end of the season, especially their stretch after the All-Star break. And I saw a team that was really cohesive. I mean, you have Ryan Howard and you have Alicia Gray, that are duo combo guards that scored over 600 points. Cheyenne Parker, that was able to score over 600 points, the first time in franchise history that occurs. Also, Cheyenne Parker, first-time All-Star. Alicia Gray, first-time All-Star. Ryan Howard, also on the All-Star team as well. There was just so much that went into the buy-in, but also the belief that they could do that. And I think now that they got the taste of what the playoffs mean. Now the next step is what they need to do, the pieces that have been added on the roster as of late, and how they can continue to build on last season.
Absolutely. And I think Tanisha Wright, I think you're right, is a big part of that. Something I love about her coaching style is, yes, she's a player's coach, but she's all about accountability. She's going to keep you honest, and she's going to hold that accountability. And that's what a lot of the girls have been talking about today, is just how Tanisha has helped them come along. But it was not a quiet offseason for the Dream. They made some waves in free agency. Let's talk about some of them. Let's start with Jordan Canada. What do you see about her game, and what is she going to bring to the Dream?
Wow. I mean, what a move by the front office. It was absolutely spectacular. I do want to say Erin McDonald had an amazing career here. I saw her grow as a point guard. I think she'll be fantastic back on the West Coast. I know with her being a former Pac-12 player at Arizona, seeing that love on the West Coast as well as Monique Billings, so wishing them all the best. But Jordan Canada brings a swag, a shiftiness, and a winning mentality. She has already won. She's played behind Sue Bird, understanding what it takes to be a champion, has won the Commissioner's Cup, understanding in-season competition as well. And for me, as a former player, that point guard position is very important because you are like an extension of the coach. Tanisha Wright also understands that she has a point guard that can relay that. So I just think her embodiment of the IQ that is needed for this team, there's a lot of experience that she brings. She's shifty, she's speedy, she can stretch the floor, she can also be the glue for a team too with connecting the dots.
Jordan Canada's defensive prowess definitely stands out to
Absolutely.
me. Let's talk about aerial powers. What does AP bring to this team? Because for me, she brings some fire.
I mean, when you can text Michael Jordan and say, what do I need to work on my game? And he gives you some feedback about what you need to do. I'm sold already, you know?
Right?
And I just think Aerial Powers has such like a dog mentality, and I mean that in the best references possible, because she steps on the floor and believes that she's going to win every single time she's on the floor. I know that her minutes were limited in Minnesota, and I think that the fit was a little off for her there, but I am intrigued to see what Tanisha Wright has in store for her. Will she be coming off the bench? Will that be a power punch for this team as well? But what I love about her style is that it is almost a backup for Ryan Howard. Ryan Howard did not get a lot of minutes on the bench last season. We saw that wear on her towards the end of the year. Can Aerial Powers come in? There is no drop-off. She can create opportunities in Tanisha Wright's free-flowing offense to create for herself, create for her teammates, and have that mentality on the defensive end to get stops.
Yeah, the depth, there's definitely a better depth for this team this season than last season. And then finally, we have to talk about the seasoned vet that they brought in Tina Charles. I talked to her earlier, and she actually said, I thought I was retired. I thought I was done. But then she kind of could tell things weren't done. And she was ready, and she has that relationship with Tanisha from playing with her in the past, that now she said she can't really talk back as much now. But what do you see in what Tina has left in the tank to bring for the Atlanta Dream?
Well, I'll start here. I played against Tina Charles in college, and she was a dog then. She is a beast now. I know that she took the last year off, and I know leaving midseason prior to that year as well, there were some concerns about what she was going to look like coming back in. Is she done really? But her talent, seeing her in the workouts for a training camp, first up and down the floor, the communication that she brings, the understanding of what this team needs to do on the defensive end cannot be missed. This is a player that understands winning on many different levels, and I think for Tanisha Wright, the important thing for her in this locker room was having a vet, having a defensive presence, and another shot blocker. This team is built off of defense. Offense will come. It's a free-flowing offense, and we've seen that they were leading the league in offensive efficiency for a stretch during the season last year, even 2 years ago. So I think that's something to say when you have the Las Vegas Aces that average close to 92 points per game. But to see what Tina Charles can do for this team, I'm excited about. And I think there's a lot in store for what she can do for this team.
For sure. She's definitely someone that they can lean on, not to mention she's a top 5 all-time leading scorer in the WNBA. Who gets to say that? That's pretty awesome. All right, we're going to toss it to another member of our team. Our Emily Gagnon, sports anchor, is here as well. But we will get to her in the B block. But for now, stick with us. We have a lot more. We're going to have some players joining us on set shortly. Stick around. All right, welcome back to Gateway Center Arena. Here's a look at that schedule. Take a picture. You'll want to know all the dream games that are coming up. We will air 29 of those on a Peachtree TV and Peachtree Sports Network. But I am joined now by forward Naz Hillman. How you hanging today? Are days like this fun for you?
They are so fun. I prepare for these. I try to think about my poses the night before. So I'm very excited for today. It's one of my favorite days of the season.
For fans, give them a peek behind the curtain today. You guys come in, you get makeup done, and what's the process? What kind of content are you guys doing today?
Yeah, so like you said, we start off with our makeup done. I had to make sure that I had breakfast or I was going to be hangry during this because it can take multiple hours. But we get our individual pictures. We take pictures with teammates. We get content throughout the season. All the things that you see on broadcast or on our social media pages, a lot of that is from today. So we just kind of try to grab everything while everybody's all made up and pretty, even though we're pretty every day, but especially today.
Pretty every day. Just a little extra sparkle
Exactly.
today. Naz, let's talk about last season. How would you describe how the season went? You guys were 19-21, I believe, make the playoffs for the first time since 2018. Just what are you guys able to take away from last season as a group?
Yeah, last year was a lot of growth. I mean, 2 years ago was our first year, new ownership, new coaches, new team. So we were figuring out our first year. Our second year, I feel like we really took the steps in what we needed to do. Probably finished better than a lot of people expected, but we felt like we could have done even better. So just a stepping stone in the right direction last year. It was a ton of fun. The energy around our team was amazing. But we're looking to do more in the next season. I think that's always our attitude, is to grow. See what happened last game or last season and continue to push it into the next season so that we can be better every year.
What are the goals and expectations for this team going into this season?
Yeah, I mean, we really want to push ourselves. Like I said, we want to continue to grow. You know, we don't want to just talk about being in playoffs. We want to win a playoff series. We want to continue in the playoffs as long as we can go. But, you know, I think our biggest thing is growing and being better than last year.
This team added a lot of depth this offseason. You got the likes of Jordan Canada, Ariel Powers, and then you get a seasoned vet like Tina Charles. Can you break those three down for me?
Yes, I can. I just want to say I am so excited to have them a part of the team. As I saw overseas, I was in Australia kind of picking up those players and seeing how they were going to mesh into our team. I was super excited.
I want to interrupt you because Jordan Canada told me you guys were in Australia
Yes,
together, and
we
she's like, she
were.
was in my ear constantly. What were you saying to her?
I was, and you know, I tried to have a super fine balance of, you know, come here, but also, you know, not too much so that she's not overwhelmed or overpowered by it and hearing it every day. But I told her exactly what it was. This is a team environment, a family environment. We love to have fun, but we also like to work hard. We want to play hard. We want to run fast. The things that you do well, Jordan, get the ball to our star players, make plays for yourself. So yes, I was in her ear, but not too much. I didn't want to overwhelm her, but just her speed, her pace, and her being a veteran is definitely going to add to this team. Being able to run the team, you know, whether we're getting up and down the floor or setting up in the half court. And I think just the way that her style of play is definitely going to help. Coming in with AP, I mean, she is a lot of energy. I cannot wait for you guys to see her in action. She's a lot of energy on the floor, in the locker room, on the bench. But she just brings that extra scoring. She brings that extra pace. She's just, like I said, explosive and full of energy. And then, of course, like you said, a seasoned vet in TC. I mean, she's just going to be a calming presence for us. She knows exactly what she's doing, whether that's giving CP a blow or playing, you know, alongside CP. That's a lot bigger than we had been in past years. But like you said, bringing that veteran leadership, also a little bit of calmness, but she can also get a bucket. So I'm excited for all three of them. They can all get a bucket, and they're just going to bring a lot of fun to this team.
I want to talk about the WNBA as a whole right now because it seems in the last couple months, women's basketball has just completely popped off. What is your perception of that, having not been too far removed from the college game, but also seeing the hype that comes with the new players entering the league, whether that is the Caitlin Clarks, the Angel Reeses of the world?
I think it's amazing. I mean, I don't think that it's just good for women's basketball. I think it's great for women's sports. And, you know, as much as we're going to talk about the Caitlin Clarks and the Angel Reese and the Cam Brinks, they're going to shed light on some of the vets who've been here for a long time, who has not been able to have that light shown on them. All of these TV games that we're going to be, that the W is going to be on wherever, you know, some of these players won't have not had an opportunity to be in that spotlight. So as much as you're going to see these new faces, you're going to see some of the old faces, and I'm excited to see so many people's stories told, because I feel like there's a lot of stories to be told that have not been told in the W, and we're going to see a lot of those. We're going to see the skill set of a lot of these women who have been doing it for a very long time, and I'm just excited. Like I said, not just for women's basketball, but for women's sports in general.
I think that's the best part about the WNBA and all women's league in general. They do such a great job of being about ball, but showing personality off the court or off the field as well, and that's a lot to like. Naz Hillman, thank you for joining. What's on my mind for tonight? Tip-off coming your way at 10 right here on Peachtree Sports Network. You won't want to miss it, so tune in. But that does it for this edition of Sports Tonight. For Emily Gagnon, I'm Bailey Burmaster. You all have a great night.